Hi, I'm Izzy, and this is Dizzy Quilts and Sews. Today is my turn on a Gift to November vlogatour hosted by Sew Like Dottie Allison over on Instagram. In this video, I'm going to give you a few ideas of items to sew for people if you don't have their measurements. All right, before we jump into my list of ideas, I thought I'd give you a little rundown on how the challenge works. So basically, this is a challenge all about getting your Christmas sewing done early in November. So if you watch any of the videos on the vlogatour and you have a brilliant idea of something you can sew for someone, get her done in November, take a picture of the item and then post it to Instagram using the hashtag, don't want to make a mistake here, AGTN24, so hashtag AGTN24, and tag Allison at Sew Like Dottie to be entered to win a prize, which is amazing. And there are so many prizes. Like every year, Allison's been running this challenge for about 3 years now, and she's gotten a bunch of sponsors. Hopefully there will be graphics somewhere around my head of all of the wonderful sponsors. You can post your Instagram picture anytime during November, so this is not one of those challenges where you have to post on the last day of the month. You can post all through the month of November and be entered for a chance to win one of the prizes. Now, if you are sewing something for, let's say, a family member who follows you on Instagram, so you don't really want them to see what you've made for them, you can email a picture of your gift to Allison at agtnsewing@gmail.com. So Allison's got a couple of ways in which you can enter. Now, one little rule that you have to follow, first of all, obviously it's got to be a sewn something or something to do with stitching. Could be embroidery, could be anything that's got to do with needle and thread. So that's the first thing. And second, if you're going to make 10 scrunchies, that's one entry. It's not 10 entries. But if you're going to make a sweater, an apron, a pair of mittens, those are 3 entries into the challenge. If you have any questions about the challenge, leave them in the comments below. But for now, let's jump right into my list of ideas. All right, I love to sew for other people as presents, but it's not always possible to reach out to the person and say, what are your measurements? You can always ask them what size they wear in ready to wear. That could give you a starting point. You can, well, I wouldn't suggest necessarily trying to sneak into their closet and look at their labels, but if you can ballpark it, you can make any of the things that I'm going to suggest for you today. So first thing, a robe. Who doesn't love a nice robe as a present? Now, robes are extremely forgiving because the more big and snuggly sometimes the better. And yeah, because they close with a self tie, there are no buttons or zips or any of that. There's a lot more forgiveness there in terms of sizing. Now, I've made a robe for myself recently. I made the Ligon robe by Cashmerette. It was one of their club patterns. I absolutely love my robe. It can be made in any woven fabric, so you can go super luxurious and use like a silk, or you can go a little bit lower end and use a nice cotton or nice rayon. Either way, it would make a wonderful, wonderful gift. Besides the Ligon, there's also the Compose robe by Love Notions, which is also super nice. And Itch to Stitch came out with a brand new robe pattern recently. So recently, in fact, that I don't even remember what the name of it is, but I'll make sure a picture pops up on the screen. So yeah, a bunch of different robe patterns. Get a few yards of fabric, and there you go. You've got a super nice personalized gift for somebody you love. The cool thing about a robe too is often the pattern can be unisex. I mean, you can make them for a man or a woman. So there you go. Number 2 idea is a nice, cozy, oversized sweatshirt or hoodie. Now, I made one of those for the ladies in my life a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. It must have been 4 years ago because it was at the beginning of the pandemic. It was like Christmas 2020. And they were a huge success. I bought some really nice cozy fabric, actually the same fabric that I made this Whistler top out of. It's crazy soft, very, very snuggly and warm, and it made wonderful hoodies. So again, because it's oversized, as long as you have a ballpark idea of the person's size, you can make something that will fit them and that they will really enjoy wearing when they're lounging around the house around the holidays and so on. So that's idea number 2. Idea number 3 is an apron. Who doesn't love a nice apron in a fun fabric, maybe something that you will have picked specifically for that person in mind? Or you can buy a plain black, plain navy, plain white. And then if you have like a cutting machine, you can use some heat transfer vinyl to put something fun or cute or a fun saying in the front of your apron. Aprons are always well received as gifts. Now, I made the Sam apron by Helen's Closet a couple of years ago for my sister and her husband as a housewarming gift, and they loved their aprons. Very, very easy pattern. Helen's instructions, like in all of her patterns, are great for the Sam. The Sam has got a bunch of different options in terms of pockets. It's a really, really good one. The only thing I would say about the Sam apron is that the neck tie, or the thing that goes around the neck, is incredibly long. So I would either put a slider on it so they can adjust it to size, or I would shorten it a little bit because it is really, really long. But otherwise, it's a great, great pattern. I made mine in a beautiful printed canvas. You can wash canvas easily. Yeah, so really, really great idea. And then my final idea, or my 4th idea, are pajamas. That's another thing that, people don't tend to buy it for themselves. So if they get pajamas as gifts, it's always well received. Again, you can pick a cozy flannel or a nice crisp cotton. Again, you can go all out and get some nice silk for somebody you really love. But there are a few PJ patterns out there that are pretty forgiving in terms of size. Most of them have elasticated waists. You can get some with a button up or a button front, but that's oversized, nice and comfy. So a couple of them come to mind for me. So there's the Carolyn pajamas, which are always a fan favorite or a sewing community favorite by the Closet Core patterns. Or you've got a new cashmerette pattern that came out. I think it's a Cashmerette Club pattern. The Fiska loungewear, I think is what it's called, or sleepwear. And it's got a bunch of different views. You can make a night shirt. You can make pajamas. You can make a cute little cami top with a built-in bra, no less. So amazing number of options in that Cashmerette Club pattern. Again, you can use woven fabric for pajamas, but there are also a ton of pajama patterns out there for knit fabrics, giving you even more leeway in terms of sizing. So as long as you've got, again, an idea of what they're ready to wear size might be, then that's a really good starting point to make somebody some PJs. So those are 4 really good ideas that you can use to make somebody a garment for Christmas, even if you don't have their specific body measurements. I hope I have inspired you to make something special for somebody special this year and inspired you to get started early. Now, I've spoken a few times on my channel now that this year I've decided to tone it down considerably, and I'm gonna give myself some grace this year and don't go all out for my presents. But I have done each one of those pattern types or garment types in the past as presents for the people I love. So I know they are well received. If you already know what you're making for Christmas, what you're making for other people for Christmas, I would love to know what is on your list. So put that in the comments below. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now, before you go, here are a couple of other vloggers on the tour that you should check out. First, Adam So, who is also on the vlogger tour, scheduled to put out a video today. So the lovely Adam, you want to make sure you go check him out. I'm going to put a link to his channel down below. Yesterday was Heartland Knits and Sews. And tomorrow you've got two vloggers you can go and watch, Super Bales Sews and Vox Atelier. So I'm going to link all of their channels below, so go have a look. And hopefully by the end of this month, you will have a long list of ideas you can use to sew up presents this year. Who knows, you might even get some ideas to sew something for yourself. Thanks again for stopping by. Please give the video a like on your way out if you liked it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.